Okay, let's get started, folks. Welcome to Grimoire. It's a neat little solo game for making a grimoire, for making spells. Sorry, I'm just now realizing I'm off center here. Um, this game is uh, wow, I do real bad when it's just me, huh? Anyway, this game is by N. Robinson, also known as The Bardic Inquiry. You can find this game and more on thebardicinquiry.com or on their itch page. There is also a physical copy that you can obtain from Drive-Thru RPG. So as you can see, we have a playingcards.io page here that I've set up because this game is played with playing cards, obviously. Um, we're also going to need a d20 and two d6s just for rolling on some tables at the beginning here. Set of playing cards with the two jokers included, and a notebook and pen. So to start off, we are going to create our wizard. Um, there was one more thing that I forgot to grab, which is a general book to read. Uh, so I'm gonna put us on a be right back screen, and I'm gonna go get one of my poetry books. I'll be right back. Okay, well that was embarrassing. Anyway, I'm back. I have Appalachia by Charles Wright, which was Avery's birthday gift to me last year, and contains one of my all-time favorite poems. So, whew, now we make our wizard. So we're gonna start by rolling a d20. We have to roll it twice, once for the prefix and once for the suffix for the name. Just to get into the wizard mood. 12. Urs. Urschi. Urshi? Who pronounced that Urshi? And then we roll d66, that is to say, two d6s, one of which will represent the tens and one will represent the ones for a title. 12. Again, Urshi the Brave. and you are encouraged to think up how your wizard obtained this title. I think in Urshi's case, the brave is just the polite way of saying the pig-headed. Now we get some values for each suit of cards, and that's going to shape how we approach our spells. So, hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. Yeah. And these may change over the course of the game. So far we have this. So, pick a value for each suit. $41 fame for hearts. $44 happiness for diamonds. And you don't need to roll on these tables. You can also just come up with your own. I just like rolling on tables. That's a fun fact about me. 54 knowledge for clubs. And one more. 62 peace for spades. Okay, and our next step is we come up with a major goal. You can see we have a goal track here on our playingcards.io page. That's so as we finish spells, which I've created little slots for over here, we can add the face cards to our goal track each time we complete a spell. And once we have a full set of 3 of face cards of one suit, we will have completed our overall goal. And the goal can be anything narratively. I think Urshi the Brave's goal is to make contact with the primordial creator gods. And in doing so, learn all the secrets of creation, etc., etc. They haven't really, like, thought it out. That's just that's just what they would like. I am hopping into Twitch real quick just to make sure I'm actually running this right. I don't usually run the streams through my computer. That's usually Avery's job. So I'm just popping open Twitch to make sure I'm not horribly fucking things up. Primordial creator gods is our overall goal. Great. And it looks like the stream is running okay, so woo! Okay. Each time you add to the goal set, if the added card is the first card of the set or has a matching suit in the set, then your wizard has made progress. You should include a description of how this spell has or will provide progress toward the goal within the relative journal prompts. Once there are 3 cards with matching suits in the goal, your wizard has found success. And this is how you win the game. There are a lot more ways to die or fail than to win, as is quite common. And our next step is bonds. Your wizard has friends and enemies. And the bonds that they have will both help and hinder them. So, hearts and diamonds are your friends, and spades and clubs are your foes. And we have some more tables for these. So I can choose any of these that I want. Your wizard starts the game with 4 bonds. To create a bond, write down a name, a sentence that describes who they are to your wizard, and assign the bond to a suit. Then select the matching prompt set. So for hearts, I'm going to go with the diner, just because that seems funky. The diner. What should we name them? How about Marjorie Bitters? An old friend from her days as apprentices. Now, whenever you interact with your heart suit bond, you get to remove 1 wound. But if you interact with them 3 times, you have reached the last prompt, and that removes the bond. So you can't interact with them anymore. For Diamond, every time you interact with them, you gain 1 coin. But again, interact with them 3 times, and the bond is gone. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the donor. I'm going to call them Uncle. Uncle Rosewood. A generous acquaintance of my teacher. Now we move on to spades. Spades, when you interact with them, you gain a wound. So who you interact with is random. You choose the action consort. Sorry I'm late. Everyone is streaming tonight, and I was saying hi to Quint. Hi, Racius. That's okay. I'm glad you're here for however long you plan to be here. I was just about to name my bully. Oh, hello, back to you, Quint. I am naming my fake wizards bully and or rival. I wonder who they should be. I think I'll go with, so for each of these bonds, there are 3 different prompt sets that you can choose that you can choose from. I'm gonna go with the nobility. Because, fuck the nobility, you know? Lady Lady Calla, a former employer with, hmm, a former employer who dislikes my vision. And then we have clubs. This is your big enemy. Uh, Anytime you interact with them, you gain 1 wound unless you remove 2 coin. I'm gonna go with the assassin. And I'm just gonna put question marks for their name and say someone wants to stop me from my goal. So now we have this page for our grimoire. And now we can move on. So we have 3 resources: coin, which you use to undertake quests or mitigate potential encounters and consequences. There's no limit to how much or how little coin you can have. Wounds, physical damage, um, you can have up to 3. If you get more than 3, you are dead. And you will add, because this is a journaling game, each time you gain a wound, you get to like record it in your journal as a short little statement, like broken nose from rival, etc. And then corruptions. Um, if there are certain prompts that will give you corruptions, you can also use one of your spells to ignore some or all of the consequences of one of the journal prompts, but if you do this, you will again gain a corruption. You can have 3 corruptions maximum, and if you get a 4th, uh, you're done. So that's game over. So those are 2 ways to get game over, and then the other way is the jokers. If we draw the jokers from this pile here, then that will lock us into one of the sort of bad end routes that ends your story it doesn't immediately end, but you go through certain prompts that get you to an ending for the story. You just have a sip of some hot cocoa. I don't know why I can talk a lot in like conversation or when I'm streaming with friends and my throat is fine, and then when I'm talking a lot just here streaming alone, I end up with like with scratchy voice syndrome. I'm drinking hot cocoa, which is perhaps not the best treatment for scratchy voice syndrome, but I am a hot cocoa fanatic, so let's move on. So we have our table set up, we have our goal, we have all of our cards and everything set. So what you want to do before you begin is you want to separate out the face cards and all of the other cards and put them in two separate piles. So I even have two separate discard piles just to keep everything neat and orderly. So each turn we can select one action from a list of actions. So there's consort, where you draw a card from the numbers card deck. And depending on what you get, you either get to interact with friend or a foe, and then you respond to the prompt. There's discover, which costs coin, which we don't have at the moment. There's heal, where you can spend coin to remove a wound. There's perform, where you can draw a card, to and take on like some kind of work in order to gain coins, but you may lose cards from your deck, and the more cards you lose from your deck, the more likely you are to draw the Joker. It may not be the best, but it is the best. Yeah, I had to think for a moment about what I'd said that prompted that, but yes, hot cocoa is amazing. I'm a cocoa fiend. I'm switching back and forth between my page that shows the stream and the chat and my page that shows the um the game rules. Quest, research, uh there should also be discover, I think, but whatever. Um right, I already said discover. Let me just real quick, do I start with coin? I read this earlier, but I just have to like look at it again. So, creating a spell. A spell is represented by cards, and then you create a glyph using those cards as prompts. My messages seem to be a bit slow this evening. No, we're probably just on a bit more of a delay than usual. Um, However, I cannot do the discover action at the moment because I have 0 coins. And discover costs 2 coins. So, my first action, I suppose, will be to perform. So we're going to draw one of these cards. If the suit of the drawn card matches the last card added to a spell, discard all matching cards. However, we haven't done anything yet. So, 2 of diamonds. So we only need to discard that card, and we gain a coin. I have done my little song and dance in the light show, and I have gained a coin. So my next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to consort. So use the suit of the card to determine which friend or foe you find. If none apply, discard the card and terminate the action. So you would do that after you have lost one of your bonds. I think I'm gonna perform again. That will get me 2 coins. I don't want to use up my hearts bond at the moment because that will help me remove wounds. So I'm gonna just perform again because I have nothing to lose at the moment. So now I have 2 coins. I've done my song and dance for a coin. Again. Um, so at this point, I could just keep going with this bit until I feel like I have enough coins, because here at the beginning, when you don't have any spells, you aren't in danger of losing all of your coin or all of your cards. However, this game is about crafting spells, so I don't really just want to sit here playing Busking Simulator 2K23. So we're gonna take the risk to use the discover action. This action will allow the player to begin a new spell by drawing and playing a face card. A player may have multiple spells under research at a time, which can help reduce the risk of research. So, we remove 2 cards. We draw a face card, King of Hearts, and that will start our new spell. So, I go back to the creating a spell. A spell in a grimoire is represented by a series of cards called a set, a series of words, an offering, and a glyph. Face card determines how many spell points are required. This is a king, which means that we will need 13 spell points. I'm just gonna jot that down. The first number card that I draw will determine the words of power, which you get from here, from your reading book. Basically, you draw a number card, and then you open to a random page in your book and find a sequence of words that match, like the amount of words has to match the amount of the the number card. But we don't need to do that at the moment because this is just our discovery phase. So this is our first card. So we're going to start with our glyph. We're going to begin our glyph. So each face card is going to determine the overall shape of the glyph. In this case, since it's a king, it's going to be a pentagon. Basically just a little house shape, right? Yeah. Yes. So, Hershey the Brave has, I don't know, um, in the mid, like, gone home that evening after busking for their goddamn life for hours. Um, and on the way home, decided to pop into the local, like, special magic shop to buy some new fancy magic ink with which they're hoping, because they've had, like, wizard block. Um, and sometimes, like with art block, getting a new art supply can help with that. Um, so they purchase some new fancy ink, they go home, and they're struck with sudden inspiration to draw a pentagon. So we don't know what kind of spell this is yet. We will have to do some research and some questing. So, our next action is going to be research. So, draw a card from the deck, play it to an existing spell set, or gain one corruption and discard the card. So, you would do this, you cannot exceed the amount. So, we said this is a king, which means we have to have 13 spell points to finish the spell, but we can't exceed 13. So we can draw a card and then respond to the prompt generated with that card. Now, every card after the first is going to be number cards, not face cards. So let's see what we got. 7 of diamonds. So I'm going to go down to in the rule book, the diamonds research prompt. 7. The ravings of a wizard were heard at night. How did these ravings interrupt your research but help you make progress? I think the first thing I want to do, okay, so the 7, I am going to add this. Sorry, I definitely had this as a spread, not a pile. Why isn't it spreading? Oh well. So 7. That means we just need 6 more points. Um, so 7, the first number card you draw is going to determine the shape of the sigils that form the points of the glyph. In this case, 7 is a spike. I'm going to use that to sort of influence uh, my answer to this prompt. Um, Essentially, I guess, while Urshi the Brave is like deep in their research, the window is open, a nice evening breeze is coming in, and suddenly one of the other like wizards down the street just starts hooting and a hollering and just losing it. Um, but at first, their words sound like gibberish, but then it slowly sort of starts to make a little bit of sense. It's still annoying as hell because it's so loud, but it makes some sense. Um, there's a lot of talks of like a million spikes and hundreds of eyes, and then just some incomprehensible muttering. Um, but that at least causes a bit of just a seed of sudden discovery. Okay. So now we return to our actions. Um, I have no money, so I could perform, I could consort, or I could research again. Questing costs coins. Um, I can't do that. I think I am going to consort. So, draw a card from the deck, and the suit will be will determine which of your bonds you interact with. So, we'll see. Ooh, ouch. 2 of spades. So that's bond prompts that are tied to the spade suit all gain 1 wound for your wizard once you respond to the prompt. Ouchies. So this is the nobility, Lady Calla. Your foe spoke of you at a party you both attended. Why did you leave feeling insulted? I'm gonna add 1 wound. I think Lady Calla was speaking to some other nobles of her ilk about various like wizards that they'd had in their employ, and my name came up, and she just it's like, oh well, Urshi the Brave was fine, I guess. Have you heard they're trying to achieve with their research. My goodness, just it's just too much. Just an overachiever. I certainly don't think that if anyone could accomplish it, well, it certainly wouldn't be Ershi. Basically, just that kind of bitchiness. So I now have one wound. So, what can I do next? I suppose I could research again. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, an 8 is going to be too many points. So we can't use that. So we'll have to discard it and gain 1 corruption. Oh, and I forgot to record my wound, I think. Um, Perhaps a bruised hand from punching a tree to work out my anger and aggression. And then the corruption is going to be the skin around my the skin around my eyes has turned oddly blue. So now we need to respond to the research prompt. So that's spades. 8 of spades. An angry denizen of the city rapped on your door. Why were they upset? How did they inadvertently help your research? Um, just all hours of the night, there's noises coming from my lab. It's starting to get to be a bit much for the people of the city, and they're just sort of annoyed with it all. They want me to quiet down. Um, of course, while we're talking and I'm trying to reason with this guy, the uh, little experiment that I had been working on is just bubbling away and just melts through the table, melts through the floor, and I realize, that one, yeah, okay. Because I had been about to add it to my spell when the knock came, and this delay means that I noticed before I added it that it would have destroyed everything. So we're good there. So now I guess I'm going to. I need coins, so I'm gonna perform. Oof. Joker. When a Joker card is drawn from any action, refer to the corresponding Joker prompts tables for the color of Joker that has been drawn. This is the red Joker. So each table has a branching path. You will be locked into one depending on the conditions the first time you draw that particular color. If you meet the conditions for both, just choose one. So, red Joker. Old age path if you had no existing wounds. However, I have a wound, so the infection path. An existing wound begins to fester and become permanent. Who did you see about managing it? Hmm. So, what I thought was just bruises turned out to be fractures in my knuckles. Um, but I didn't notice until it was starting to heal wrong and heal badly and in a very odd manner. So I went to not necessarily a doctor. I went to another wizard hoping they could explain why this was happening. Um, and they examined me and asked what had been going on in my life. And as they went back and forth between like the questions, the examination, the questions, the examination, just this grimness settled over their face. And then they just stood up and said, "Get out of my house." And being a wizard myself, I figured, you know what? Yeah, let's get out. I'll leave. Goodbye. Let's uh let's get out of here. And off I went. So now how do I where's my button for just fucking shuffling this? Edit. Okay, well, I don't want these to go back in. I'm just going to, oh, beans. Because you have to shuffle that back in. Um, so, and then you draw a new card and to complete the prompt. So what was I doing? I think I was performing. Yes. So this does not match the Seven of Diamonds, which has accidentally been zooped on into here somewhere. When I find it again, I will deal with that. So I get 1 coin. Let's consort again. Oof. 6 of spades. So this is Lady Calla again. I gain another wound. Your foe insisted that a different wizard represented the city at the annual event. At an annual event. What happened on the day of the event? Hmm. A bit of a quarrel, a bit of yelling and posturing, but in the end I was in too much pain from my horrible little hand that would not heal that I decided to just let it go. And unfortunately, the other wizard put a bit too much oomph in their pyrotechnics display. Amateur mistake. And I got a little singed. Which is definitely not helping my mood. Okay. I have 1 coin. So I could heal, or I could quest. I think I'm gonna quest. So, remove 1 coin. Select a spell set for which you will quest to add a card to. So, this is my only spell. So, choose one of the following. Select a card from the discard pile to add to the spell and remove all other cards in the discard pile from the game permanently. Or draw 3 cards from the deck and select 1 to add to the spell. Discard the remaining 2. I think that's the one I'm going to do. Respond to each quest prompt generated by the cards in that spell from left to right using the suit and rank on the quest prompt table. I don't know if that means that I'm like responding to prompts from all of the bits. Let's see. Quest. Why am I so confused here? Why don't I understand what this is asking me to do? Respond to each quest prompt generated by the cards in that spell from left to right using the suit and rank on the quest prompt tables. If you have responded to all prompts for a particular card, discard that card. If that card was the face card, discard the set after responding to the remaining prompts. Okay, I think I get it now. And since I haven't done any quest prompts, I'm not in danger at the moment. So, draw Okay. I'm gonna go with the three of spades here. Um, which means these two get discarded. So now we respond to a quest prompt for the King of Hearts. No, we don't. What the fuck? So there's no quest prompts for the face cards. So then I don't understand how. I don't understand how you're supposed to um, discard the face card if there are no quest prompts, and you only discard the card if you've responded to all of the prompts for it. Am I just misreading this? Let me check out the quick start guide. Cards from the deck and select one to add to their spell. Discard the remaining two. Respond to quest prompt generated by the cards in that spell from left to right. Okay, so assume that the Seven of Diamonds is here. So I guess we're going to start with the Seven of Diamonds, and you choose one, because each number gives you three prompts to go with it. So I assume you start with one. Yeah, you start with part one, and then as you move on, if we were to quest for this again, we would do the next prompt for seven as well. However, I still don't understand where discarding the face card comes in. So, a merchant sold magic in a bottle to a child. Why was this considered a dangerous thing to do, and what might happen to the child? So, why was this considered dangerous? I think um pure concentrated like magic, like distilled so that it's in physical form and can be kept in a bottle, is like caustic or poisonous somehow. It like, so this kid could like um start to magically like mutate if they're not careful. Um like growing weird extra limbs, eyes and wings, etc. And it's simply not healthy nor safe. So now we have our spades. Three of spades prompt is our next one. A group of troubadours had trouble at the gate. How was coin involved, and did you help them? Lose 2 coin if you help the troubadours. I do not have any coin, so I think maybe they hadn't purchased a permit to enter the city, um, which perhaps the city needs or requires. And there was a bit of a to do about it, and I was walking by and I was one of the people who they were like, please, please, can you just spot us some money for this permit so we can come inside, we'll repay you. And I went, man, what if I could? But I got nothing. I got no coins whatsoever. Whoop. And moved on. Okay, so now I think I will research for my next thing, and hopefully we will get a number between 1 and 3. That's all we can. Nope. Gain corruption. 5 of spades. So now we um, respond to the prompt. The city guard took you aside. Why did they arrest you? How did you continue your research that afternoon in a cell? Um, Noise complaints. I mentioned earlier the townsfolk who were like, you're causing way too much information, or way too much noise, way too much sound. How dare you? Can you shut up? Um, and I went, sucks to suck, and just continued with my research. Um, so while I was in the cell, it was just a one night, like, please think about what you've done and don't come back here and keep it down. I took a bit of chalk that I had and I just covered my horrible little cell in scribbles and equations. Just fully covered it. And all the while not noticing the corruption, which I now have to describe in my journal. Um, hmm, what are we thinking? What do we think we got? Feathers, maybe? I think feathers. Feathers, question mark, question mark. Cool. Now, I think what I'm gonna do now is consort. And maybe I'll be able to heal a wound or something. No. Okay. 6 of clubs. Clubs, the club's bond, as you remember, is the assassin. Your foe attacked you during your morning walk. What did they drop when they fled? I also gain a wound because I don't have coin that I can use to mitigate this. Um, I think maybe they dropped a well, first of all, I think we got a cut across the eyebrow from that scuffle. They dropped a and a scroll that had the seal of the major wizarding research, like, think tank or whatever on it. So now we're gonna do our next thing. I'm gonna research again. I really just want to finish the spell. I'm so close. Corruption. What what corruption are we thinking? What's happening here? Um Maybe hair that moves by itself. You know, a little bit weird. Let's go down to clubs. 9 of clubs. Apprentice day passed in the city. Who came to interview with you and how did they impact your research? I think very few people came, but the ones who did were like, when people are like so into something that you're just like in that way where it's just like, oh, you are you should not be allowed within 100 feet of these premises. Like the people in high school who really want to join the military and they're like the one person that you definitely like because of their enthusiasm, you definitely don't want them to join the military. That's like the enthusiasm that this these interviewees showed for being my apprentice made me go, no, not you. And of course, I didn't get any work done that day because they were all yapping in my ear about it. So, I need coin. I'm gonna perform. Hey, got a coin. Do it again. Got another coin, but I have to. Oh, that's how you do it. Remove all the spades. I don't know how to do that. I'm just gonna leave it as is. And I could name 3 of those people right off the bat. Me too. Small town America. What do I want to do? I could research, I could discover and start a new spell, and that will give me some more wiggle room with this. I could heal a wound. Yeah, let's heal a wound. So exchange 1 coin, 1 wound. Okay. Now I'm gonna consort again, I think. We'll see what happens there. 7 of clubs. So we encounter. Good thing I removed a wound because I just gained a wound from that. Your study was ransacked. What was missing? And what made you believe it was your foe? I think. Hmm. One of my specialized tomes that was very expensive and very rare and hard to get a hold of missing, and I believe it's my foe because they were the other person bidding on it during the auction. And that's sus as hell. I think I'm going to perform again so that I can try and get another coin so I can start a new spell, and maybe that will give me a little room. Okay, got a coin. So now I get to discover a new spell. So, Jack, that's an 11, and the shape of the glyph is a triangle. So now I can research and I can uh, add what I find to either of these. So if it's a 3 or less, I can add it to this first one and hopefully complete it. And if it's not that, I can add it to this one, which means I don't gain any corruption. It's a 3! Fuck yeah! So now I need to respond to this prompt, but I have finished this spell. Diamonds. 3 of diamonds. A shrill scream came from an old book in your study. What did the voice reveal about your research? Um, I think it was from an old book on like basically telephone spells, the D&D spell message essentially and how it works, and it like gave me this sudden burst of inspiration into a how one might twist the message spell to contact something that doesn't have like physical form. So, what we do here is we get to discard these and we can put that into our goal track pile because that spell is done. But first, before we move on, we do want to create. Right. We want to actually finish creating the spell. So first, the face card determines how many spell points. That's 13. It also determines the shape of the glyph, which is a pentagon. The second card that you draw determines the words of power. So that was a 7. So I'm going to open up this and find 7 words. Okay. From the Appalachian Book of the Dead 3, the moon rains down its antibiotic light. Those are our words of power. Write these words down. Now use the value associated to apply meaning to the words of power. So since it's a King of Hearts, my heart's value is fame. rearrange the words or remove words until you are satisfied with the meaning of the spell. I think I might remove its and antibiotics. So the moon rains down light. Reflect on the relevant journal entries to identify a tribulation determined related to the determined value to represent the offering of the spell. So our 7 of diamonds, the ravings of a mad wizard, versus our um, was it the 3 of spades? Yes. The troubadours. I think the offering is... Oh, I forgot to remove the coins. The offering is going to be a little bit of gold dust. Creating the spell. Determine which value your wizard is which value of your wizard is used as a lens. Already did that. Oh, last number card determines which. Well, look. We've already done it. I'm not going back. I've already made it. I'll do it right next time. Okay. So now we create a glyph. So we have a pentagon as our shape, spikes as our sigils, and then our connection, that would be the second of our number cards, which was a 3, so that would be curved. Let me just... I don't know how to draw spikes in a way that's like visually distinct from like triangles, which is another one of the options on here. So just bear with me. Any cards added to the set afterwards requires the player to add something to the glyph of their own creation. So 3 of diamonds was the last thing that we added. So that would be... And the 3 of diamonds research prompt was the shrill scream. So I'm gonna add sort of a tight, like, sound wave type shape, and voila, we have our... There, let me actually get it into camera view. We have our spell glyph. So that's our first spell, and I guess I'll keep going until I die or complete my goal. So this is a communication spell that can reach non-physical entities or entities beyond the mortal plane. What am I gonna do now? I guess I could research because I don't have anything here yet, so I should be good. Fuck. the Joker again. That means I have to do the next part of the prompt. You woke early from a burning sensation. How has the wound become worse? Um, I think due to not seeking proper healing in the first place, my hand is now. I'll just keep going till I die. Yep. My hand is now like healed into some horrible little like claw formation, and I can't like move my fingers very well. Luckily, it's my left hand, and I'm right handed, so I'll just ignore that and keep going with my life. Shuffle the stack again. 10 of clubs. Okay. So we just need an ace for our next card, and we will have filled this one out. But first, oh, this also determines the words of power. Let's get that now instead of fucking forgetting about it. Eight, nine, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is harder than I thought it would be. That'll work. So this is from the poem It's Turtles All the Way Down. I love Charles Wright. Um, what god is the god behind the god who moves? Okay. Now, we respond to the prompt. 10 of clubs. The nobility called all wizards to action in a distant war. Who did they intend to fight? How did you avoid it? I think they intended to fight a more tech-based like empire or something, like an empire that basically the Garleans, Final Fantasy 14. So all of us are over here using magic, they're over there using magic tech. And I avoided it because when I showed up for my intake, they took one look at my horrible gnarled claw hand and they were like, no, go home. And that's what I did. Because I'm no fool. Anyway, I could consort, but that might give me more wounds than I can handle, even if the other option is that it'll heal them. Um, I could perform, but does have the added complication of I don't really know how to remove all matching cards from this because I'm stupid. So let's consort. Let's just try it. Yes. 10 of diamonds. That's our donor. You interact with them, you get a coin. The donor. You received a letter from an old friend. What has changed recently in their life? Um, Uncle Rosewood, the generous acquaintance of my old teacher. I think he has just retired. And now he's sitting on all of this money because he's a very wealthy, like, old wizard. And he goes, I'm bored. I want to send money to all of the old apprentices and see what they'll do with it because I'm bored as hell and rich. And I went, thanks, dude. I don't care what stupid reason you're giving me money. I want it. I want the money. Thank you. And now I get. I'm going to heal, remove one coin and one wound, and then I'm going to consort again, and maybe I will get something good. Yay! Hurts. So now I get to remove another wound. The diner. Your friend hailed you across the street to sit down for a meal with them. What did you share to eat? I think something. Something very, very new, very adventurous. Like, I don't know. What would be the magic equivalent of those, like, really weird, like, gastro, like, scientific foods that are, like, made with lasers and shit? Whatever that is, that's what we eat. So now that I'm down a, now that I'm down to one wound, I'm going to, um, consort again in the hopes that I run into Lady Calla, because that will finish out. That will be the last prompt that I have for her, and then I gain 3 coins from finishing out that bond. So, fuck. It's the assassin again. Gain a wound. Someone in a crowd had your item and you followed them into a trap laid by your foe. How did you deal with your foe? I think so. I spot someone that has the tome that was stolen from my house. Um, Follow them. And over the years, I have become increasingly paranoid and started carrying prepared glyphs of all sorts of things, or bottles of pure concentrated magic um, on me just in case. And having fallen into this trap, I pull them out and I just throw absolutely everything I own uh, at my enemy. And this causes a horrible explosion, which ends up burning both my hands and causing me quite a bit of pain, but it also kills the assassin. I no longer have to worry about that. I guess it kills the assassin and the person who hired them. I don't know if I made that distinction. Anyway, let's consort again. Maybe we'll get a spade. We did! Oh yeah, so that gains us 1 wound. You uncovered a secret plot to assassinate your foe. How did you use it to your advantage to rid yourself of their annoyance? also gains me 3 coins. So I think having uncovered the plot to assassinate Lady Calla, I I know what route they're going to use, and I know that it's probably not going to be as easy as they think because I used to work for her. So I go in secretly, um, getting a little scuffed up in the process, and I like rearrange things a little bit so that when the assassins go down this route, they don't trigger the alarms that I know are there. And then I wake up the next morning to front page news of, oh no, Lady Callow was assassinated in her bed. Um, and also a little pile of money on my table from some uh, very grateful assassins. So I'm going to use 2 coins to discover, start a new spell. That's a Jack of Spades, so that's going to be another 11. And a triangle shape. Now I'm going to use the last coin to quest. No. Mm. Well, let's see. I could quest, but then you have to go through all of the little bits, all of the prompts, and I am pretty sure that club prompt will give me a wound and kill me. So I'm gonna research, and then I can put the card that I draw into either spell. So I have the chance of, so if it's an ace, then I put it in the first spell and finish it, and if it's not an ace, I put it in the second spell, and I don't have to risk gaining more corruption. Let's do 2. And again, let's figure out the words that we get. So I get to choose just 2 words in I'm going to choose from my favorite poem of all time, Stray Paragraphs in February, Year of the Rat. I'm going to choose the words melancholy music. Somehow it's harder to find a 2 word set that makes sense than it is to find a 3 word set or like a 10 word set. Anyway, 2 of clubs. The Harvest Festival came and went. What activity did you take advantage of to further your research? I think some vendors came to town that had all sorts of interesting, like, magical accoutrements uh, that they were willing to barter for and trade for. And I managed to get my hands on a special, like, very rare item that I had been looking for that helped me, like, break through the next step in this spell. What do I want to do next? I want to research again just to see what we can get out of it. Oops. So this will not fit into either spell that I have. And I already am at 3 corruption, so getting rid of it will cost me another corruption, which means I die. So I guess in their eagerness to attain their goal, Urshi the Brave gets a bit ahead of themselves. Doesn't really pay attention to how, like, to the proper, like, safety procedures, and they're found some days later just fully mutated into this horrible little creature with, like, feathers and blue skin and, like, hair that's just floating in the air and, like, little claws, like, meh. And that's the end of Urshi the Brave and their quest to speak to the primordial creator gods. It's also the end of my playthrough of Grimoire. This a classic end for a practitioner. Yep. This is a neat little game that you can either play it in one sitting, or you can play it like a turn at a time across days or weeks if you want. You could probably even play it as like an epistolary game with a friend if you wanted, where each of you are like writing letters about your wizard's findings back and forth to each other. Um, the end goal is to hopefully complete a grimoire and complete multiple spells, and then you can take those spells into a different type of game. This has a lot of good replay value just for that reason, because everything that you make each time is going to be new. I wish the rules in the rulebook were a bit more streamlined. There were times where I really just, like, even though I've read the rulebook twice, there were times that I really just had no idea what it was telling me to do, or like what was going on or what to do. I also wish you could start with some coins, um, so that you could get into the discovery phase right away instead of having to like perform and hope that like do multiple like rounds of performance or whatever until you can get enough coins to be comfortable. But I guess that is part of the like added difficulty to the game, and I do enjoy that it's like um that it's difficult. Um and there's just so many ways to fail. So I would play this again. I would dedicate a separate journal as opposed to this is my journal that I use for our indieRevue games. But it would be nice to dedicate just an entire like journal to it and fill it up with like um, journal entries and like notes and things from my wizard, or to, like I said, write back and forth with a friend where we each are following our own wizard's journey and sending it out as letters. That would be interesting. I do like the glyph making portion. I wish I had gotten to do more of it because I only got to make one glyph, because Urshi died horribly before I got to finish any other spells. Um, but yeah, so this game again is um, this is Grimoire by N. Robinson, also known as the Bardic Inquiry. They have a website and an itch. You can also get a physical copy of this game off of drive-through RPG. So if you like it, check it out. Check out Bardic Inquiry and Robinson's other games as well. And if you're looking for more solo games and journaling games, currently there is a bundle of about 150 solo games on itch right now that's about $10. I don't think Grimoire is in it, but Swamp Troll Witches, which we played on indieRevue last week, among other very cool games, are in the bundle. So, um, and if you're looking for more TTRPG content, tomorrow night over on our friend Race's channel at 5:30 p.m. EST, we will be playing more of Slay a While, The Slumbering Dark, our live playthrough of Critical Role's Call of the Netherdeep module. Racius also usually does a video game stream on Tuesdays over there, and we will probably be doing some sort of video game stream on here on Wednesday. So, and then we'll be back next Saturday with yet another indieRevue episode. So, um, thanks for joining me. I hope this wasn't too boring with just me tonight, and I hope to see you all on our future streams. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your Saturday evening, a good Sunday, and as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay queer, folks, and we'll see you next time.